Hey everyone, and welcome back to News to the Science, where we discuss comics, movies, games, and more. My name is Ronnie, and today we're going to be discussing the web swinging mechanics of Marvel Spider-Man and how the sequel can improve upon the first Marvel Spider-Man game. We already saw that Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales improved upon the web swinging greatly, distinguishing Miles Morales' web swinging from Peter Parker's. I now prefer playing Miles Morales when it comes to web swinging. In order for me to break this down even further, I'm going to need a little help from a special guest, Ronny Pugs. You'll be hearing from him shortly after I'm done with my talking points. Before I get started, if you could please like, comment, subscribe if I've earned your subscription already. I post videos on a daily basis. I live stream twice a week, Tuesdays and Sundays from 8:30 to 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time, solely on Twitch at the same time on Thursdays. Link to my Twitch channel is in the description. Join my Discord and follow me on my social media, which are Instagram and Twitter. Links to those are also in the description box below. With that being said, let's get started. So, the first Marvel Spider-Man game introduced us to a new, smooth, and great web swinging mechanic. After playing the game countless amounts of times, I felt like there was much more to be desired in the web swinging mechanic. The web swinging is great, but there's still opportunity for improvement. From the apparent slow web swinging to the awkward air boost we get from shooting a line just before hitting the pavement, here are some swinging improvements I like to see in Marvel Spider-Man 2, starting with the swinging speed upgrades. In the first game, we did get swinging speed increases, but those increases were barely noticeable in my opinion. Insomniac Games should implement a skill tree of swords dedicated to swinging, or make it a part of the existing combat skill tree we had in the first two games. I want to be able to feel like I am Spider-Man. At best, since Marvel Spider-Man 2 will already have an even more well-seasoned, experienced Peter Parker Spider-Man, perhaps the swinging speed skill tree won't be necessary. Maybe he will by default be able to swing really fast by then. Now, in terms of the style of how Spider-Man swings, I feel like Spider-Man is sort of limited to how his body contorts when making those sharp swinging turns. He's got great parkour skills and it's still a blast to swing as him, but I feel like he can do more. And I think that's due to the fact that the PlayStation 4 couldn't really handle such maneuvers or such capabilities really. Take swinging near the ground for example. Spider-Man is a major improviser when it comes to swinging, wall running, and even crawling. I want to be able to have that freedom and flexibility to do so much more while web swinging. We've seen cutscenes with Spider-Man passing his hand across the pavement when near the ground. I want to be able to do things like that while swinging close to the ground. Perhaps high five a pedestrian while swinging close to the ground too. These are just some of the ideas I had in mind. Also, it's a great addition to the civilian interaction feature. In Spider-Man Miles Morales, we were greeted with more air tricks while swinging and jumping off your web line, and I loved it. I praised it every time I played Spider-Man Miles Morales, and I prefer this swinging style to the original Marvel Spider-Man. In the upcoming sequel, Insomniac Games should implement more air tricks for Peter Parker. I recall only seeing about 3 air tricks in the game, and it did disappoint me quite a bit as we did get more than 6 air tricks in Spider-Man 2 back in 2004 for the PlayStation 2. I'm hoping to see some creative air tricks in Marvel Spider-Man 2 so we as the player can feel more like Spider-Man. We should be able to maneuver around these buildings easily and better than ever. In the last couple of talking points and suggestions I want to make before passing it on to Ronny Pugs is that we need to be able to see and feel like there is a noticeable difference in swinging when using the black suit in the game. That means that we should be able to swing much faster, have the ability to do even more air tricks as the black suited Spider-Man. I don't want it to just be Spider-Man with the existing swinging maneuvers and air tricks only with a black suit. No. It's got to be discernible. I want it to feel like you became an entirely different Spider-Man while wearing the black suit. The black suit does affect Peter Parker in every conceivable way, from strength to temperament and even speed. Also bring back the ability to swing loop from cranes to streetlights as a means to gain height or speed so we can launch ourselves over a few blocks. Like I said before, Spider-Man is a major improviser, and being able to loop swing to gain some height and speed is certainly one way to improvise. But there's a bit more to discuss, so I'll hand it over to Ronny Pugs now.
Insomniac's past 2 Spider-Man games have provided some of the best swinging mechanics in all of Spider-Man games. With the first game laying the ground for the improvements shown in Miles Morales, it's going to be hard to top the swinging from those 2 games for Spider-Man 2, as there isn't much to improve upon in my opinion. However, there are some improvements I would like to see added in the Spider-Man 2 in order to make a great swinging mechanic perfect, and the first improvement I'd like to see for Spider-Man 2 is a noticeable difference when playing as Miles and Peter Parker, if we get to. While both characters are similar, there is a very noticeable noticeable difference in style, so assuming we do get to choose between the two characters in the game, it should feel like we're controlling two different characters. For Peter, we could go with a smoother, slower style of swinging, and with Miles we could see a more inexperienced style with it being a bit faster paced based on the character type. And this isn't something that should just relate to swinging, but even combat and other abilities between the two as well. Next, I would like to see Peter Parker's style of swinging change when wearing the symbiote. The symbiote enhances Peter's abilities, and with that I would like to see a faster swinging style that not only improves the speed of the swinging but the power of it as well. It should be difficult for the player to swing using the black suit for the first time, and like Miles and Peter, there should be a noticeable difference when using the black suit with Peter Parker compared to the standard suit. In previous Spider-Man games we have seen this mechanic before with Spider-Man 3 and Web of Shadows, so I definitely think Insomniac should take inspiration from those games and showcase the power of the symbiote through swinging. The third thing I'd like to see improve for swinging mechanics in Spider-Man 2 is adding the ability to climb up webs like in Ultimate Spider-Man. This could be seen as something forgettable, but I believe Ultimate Spider-Man has been the only game to include this mechanic. Web of Shadows may, but it allows you to gain height while swinging, and I really enjoyed it. This is something that maybe Miles could use opposed to Peter since he's the newer Spider-Man, but regardless, I would like to see this feature return since it hasn't been used much and would make traversal a lot more interesting compared to the previous games. Next is one I think we can all agree on: more air tricks. Miles Morales included the best air tricks in Spider-Man games, and even playing Spider-Man PS4 after Miles Morales, that game's swinging system and air tricks seems a bit more dated now due to the amount of air tricks in Miles Morales. I think you can add a lot of new poses and abilities for the characters, and of course you could implement symbiote air tricks, but overall this is one that I think should be expected to come next game, and I'd like to see a wide variety between the two characters and the symbiote. And finally, the last swinging mechanic I'd like to see added in Marvel's Spider-Man 2 is the ability to shoot two webs at a time. This was something featured in Spider-Man 2, and even the Amazing Spider-Man 2 did something similar, although it was more of an animation. But even so, this is one of the missing features from the previous games that I'd like to see return in Spider-Man 2. This would not only allow the player to stop mid-swing, but could also allow one another to slingshot across certain areas of the map, and just imagine overshooting a destination when it comes to using the black suit in this game. Overall, I'm hoping these improvements do make the game, and although Insomniac's past two games have given us great symbiote mechanics, there's always room for improvement even if there isn't much to improve upon. I'd like to thank News to Astonish for allowing me to come on his channel and discuss this topic, and I hope you all enjoyed my ideas for swinging mechanics come next game.
Thank you so much once again, Ronny Pugs. This was a really fun collaborative effort, and I look forward to working more with you on future videos like this. Go check out and subscribe to Ronny Pugs' channel, everyone. He makes amazing Spider-Man content. Thanks again, Ronny Pugs. I couldn't have made this video without you, and thank you all for watching. Be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and click on the bell notification so you all don't miss videos like this, and I'll see you all in the next comic panel.
Yes, we will.
PlayStation